Can Golf.com's top 100 teachers actually help me gain instant driver distance out here this evening? We're going to put this to the test and find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game, and we're rolling into week number 4. If you've been following along with me for the last few weeks, you'll know that I'm following the overspeed training regimen that Bryson DeChambeau laid out in a Golf.com article a couple of years ago, in which he gives you 6 steps that you're supposed to keep cycling through in order to build your club head speed and your ball speed through overspeed training. And my original baseline before I started this overspeed training was 92.2 club head speed and 133.5 ball speed. I just checked myself yesterday for new baselines. Again, these are fairway finders and 15 drives to get that. But my new club head speed average is 95.8, which is a difference of 3.6 miles an hour. And my new ball speed is 140.2 for a difference of roughly 7 miles an hour on the ball speed. I'd love to get my club head speed up over 100 miles an hour and get my ball speed average at least 155 plus. In this week's video, instead of taking you through the speed training once again, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I found another article on Golf.com in which they polled the top 100 teachers according to their rankings and asked them for their tips on how to instantly increase your driver gain. They came up with 5 tips, and I'm going to go through those today, try each one, and compare the numbers to my baseline. Let's get started. Now, tip number 1 is to increase the speed of the backswing. I've seen several videos, I've read some things on this as of late. This seems to be sort of a bit of a hot topic that's coming out and sort of coming to the surface now that causes this almost like rebound effect. So tip number 1 is done. That's 5 shots. I took the averages and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I saw some increases in that one for sure. All right, on to tip number 2, which is stay back longer during the downswing. Now, they go on to elaborate, and a few things this is supposed to do is engage the arms to release a little bit sooner instead of kind of hanging back and getting behind you and getting disconnected. And it's supposed to launch the ball higher with less spin. All right, there's tip number 2 finished. I gotta say, I did not really, I might need some more practice with that one is what I'm trying to say, but that's something you would really need to work on in practice, and it would be a little bit of an actual swing change. You know, you're talking about maybe changing the mechanics at least a little bit. So, you know, again, I'm not gonna spoil the numbers for you, but that one might require a little more practice. And now we're on to tip number 3, which is proper shoulder tilt at address. I've already been working with this one a little bit. I'm trying to catch the ball more on the way up. Tilted. Tip number 3 is finished. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that these tips are designed to increase your driver distance. They don't necessarily speak to more club head speed or more ball speed. There's the total sum. It's the product that you produce out on course. But we're on to tip number 4, which is make harder practice swings. Now, there's a couple of things with this one. Number 1, I feel like I've heard this somewhere. Oh yeah, it was me in one of my previous videos talking about making practice swings as fast as you possibly can and then stepping up and just trying to make the exact same swing at the golf ball and let the golf ball get in the way. I think the verbiage on this, the word that they used is probably a very bad word. It's the equivalent of a 4-letter word, which is to make harder practice swings. No, we don't want to swing harder, in my opinion. We want to swing faster. And like I said in a video before, harder, it really involves tense muscles and trying hard and putting more effort into it. Whereas speed and being fast, they kind of speak to the opposite, being effortless and making smooth, fast, quick, lightning, fast twitch muscle movements toward the golf ball. Last but not least, tip number 5, which is simply use your wrists. I do not have a very conventional grip. Everybody always teaches you to hold the golf club in your fingers. I do hold it a little bit more in the palms, and I switched from what used to be an overlap grip to a 10-finger grip. I don't know that I'm willing to change my technique and give up the good consistency that I've had with this new swing. So I'm gonna try to just make it a little bit wristier if I can and just see what happens. I don't expect too much to come of this one though. Well, that's it. So now tip number 1, which was the make a faster backswing. With that one, I had a club head speed of 95.6 and a ball speed of 142.3. So I dropped down 0.2 miles an hour, which is fairly insignificant in my club head speed, but I gained 2.1 miles an hour with my ball speed with that tip. I think with a little more work, sometimes when you're changing your timing, it can also help with your sequencing, but things like that, they do take a little bit of time to get used to. So I think with a little bit more practice and trying to incorporate that one in, I think it has definitely the potential to provide even better results going forward. Step number 2, stay back a little bit longer. Leave the shoulders a little bit more closed. Monty Scheinblum talks about this, getting your left arm off of your chest. I believe he actually has a drill called the no-turn cast drill. But the numbers from that one, I slowed down a little bit to 93.8, which is a drop of 2 solid miles an hour off of my club head speed, and I only lost a little bit of ball speed. I dropped down to 138.5, so that's a loss of 2 miles an hour on the ball speed. I think with this one, again, a little bit of work, a little bit of time with this one, it definitely has the potential to produce better results than what I got out here today. But being a mechanical change like that, it's not necessarily what they would call an instant improve your drive fix. On to tip number 3, which was proper shoulder tilted address. I got 94.9 miles per hour on my club head speed and 141 on the ball speed. I had a little bit of a drop, 0.9 miles per hour on the club head speed, but I actually went up 0.8 miles an hour on the ball speed. Now, with this tip, it could be an instant fix depending on what kind of launch conditions you have on your golf ball as of now. If you're getting it to be really low and it's like a bullet and it comes out really spinny or whatever, getting that high launch and low spin on it by having that proper spine tilt at address and getting your shoulders tilted the right way, that could completely change your ball flight. So it's not necessarily about changing the numbers with this tip. In regards to your speed, it's about changing the numbers of your carry and your roll. That one very well could be an instant fix, even though I didn't show much of a difference here because I'm already trying to launch the ball high with lower spin as it is. Next up is tip number 4, which is a tip that I provided in last week's video. Is one of the 3 tips that I gave on things that were really helping me out, was to make harder practice swings. I'm changing that to make faster practice swings. Just make a swing through the air above the ball and try and make that whoosh go really fast. Listen to that sound and try and make that whoosh go as fast as possible, and then apply that same practice swing to the golf ball. And with that, I had an increase of 0.8 club head speed, 0.8 miles an hour club head speed up to 96.6. And I got a ball speed increase up to 142.3, which is a full 2.1 miles an hour faster. That is a pretty decent improvement as far as being labeled something that is an instant fix. That's not something that you have to work on mechanics on. You don't have to change positions. All you're doing is just trying to make this practice swing go faster and then apply that to the golf ball. And you'd be amazed at what that can do. Finally, tip number 5, the one that I had some issues with, and I've got a lot of pain in it. I think I've made accommodations with my swing that may be the cause of some of my stuff where I'm out of position. Some people talk about my elbows or how I'm transitioning. Some of that could very well be due to the pain in my right wrist. But here I saw a drop off in both categories. I went from 95.8 baseline club head speed down to 94.2, which is a drop of 1.6 total miles an hour club head speed. And my ball speed dropped from 140.2 down to 137.8, which is a drop of 1.4 miles an hour on the ball speed. If I'm ranking these, the best was number 4, faster practice swings. That one definitely won out. The worst for me was get wristy. For some of you out there, like I just said, it may help you out tremendously. The honorable mention is the faster backswing for sure. I think the more I work with that, I think that one has a lot of promise. Guys, thanks so much for joining me in this video. As I said before, I appreciate all of your comments, the thumbs up you leave me down below. If you haven't subscribed, do that. Click the bell off to the right so you don't miss anything. All of the encouragement that I'm getting with the comment section of these videos, I really need it. I really appreciate it. It's hard to go through all of this. I'm really pushing myself, trying to avoid injury, but I'm trying to push myself out here to be faster, longer, better. And at the end of it, maybe I'll be hitting some shorter clubs into greens. Thanks so much for your support. Leave me some comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.